awesome. Innovative. Okay. When I get older, I will be stronger. They call me freedom, just like a waving flag. Okay? Yes. Absolutely. The WBA Super, IBO, IBF and IBO belts holder Oleksandr Usyk and the WBC and The Ring world champion Tyson Fury will fight for the absolute heavyweight champion's title. The fight will take place on 18th of May at the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The last time the undisputed heavyweight champion's title was won by Lennox Lewis in 1999 in a fight against Evander Holyfield. The fight between Usyk and Fury is, might say, a historical event. We're analyzing the upcoming battle and be sure to watch until the end. Hope this issue will be very interesting. The fight with Ngannou clearly spoiled Tyson's cards and made analysts think seriously. However, we should not forget that Fury has not yet lost his form and is ready to gather his strengths and unite the top belts. Oleksandr confidently defended his titles in a rematch with Joshua and stopped Dubois despite a prohibited blow to the groin. The only question is, will even such a high-speed heavy be able to overtake Fury in his arms? What do you think? Write your opinion in the comments. It will be very interesting for me and others to read. On paper, the difference in anthropometry looks downright scary. Tyson has a huge advantage both in height and size as well as in weight. I think that's why the bookmakers have Fury as favorite. Oleksandr Usyk, WBA, WBO, IBO and IBF heavyweight champion. He has 21 fights, 21 victories and 0 defeats. Once skeptics did not believe that Usyk was able to withstand even half the rounds in a fight with their formidable Joshua, but a couple of fights and dominant victories finally calmed the haters and forced them to admit that today perhaps there is no athlete who will have a better chance of stopping Tyson. The legendary Mike Tyson gave his forecast and determined the winner of this fight. I will talk about this a little later, and at the end I will give my alignment for the fight. Be sure to watch the video to the end. What to expect from Usyk in the fight against Fury? Usyk found himself in a very difficult situation. On the other hand, he cannot immediately force the battle because the risk of blowing aside the defense and spending all his strength to the quarter without any special dividends is too great. On the other hand, here certainly will not artificially prolong the fight in the hope of the judges' favor. He still remembers he missed body kick from Dubois, which many considered it a simulation, so the judges in this fight will be extremely closely monitoring his actions and reactions. The only chance is to work on a quick counterattack with threes so as not to give Fury the opportunity to catch his breath between attacks. What are Usyk's chances for winning, considering openly their disastrous fight between Tyson and Ngannou? It is worth admitting that Oleksandr now has a much better chance of winning. If Fury continues to stagnate, dragging out the fight and avoiding dangerous attacks, then Usyk will inevitably have to force the fight in order to get ahead on the points on the initial rounds. If Alexander doesn't shake Tyson and doesn't try to score a knockout before the end of their 6th round, then he risks getting stuck in the Gypsy King's clinches and losing precious seconds for attacks. At the same time, Usyk will inevitably have to carousel Tyson, often launching attacks from the side or from the pendulum. After all, if Alexander begins to stagnate in one place, he risks being knocked out altogether. The problem is that such tactics involve excessive energy consumption, which can lead to a sad situation closer to the championship rounds. Will Usyk manage to knock out Tyson, and in what round? Write more actively in the comments. It will be very interesting for me and others to read. The legendary American boxer Hasim Rahman is betting on Usyk. Fury should retire to leave his legacy intact because Usyk can beat him. Previously, Tyson's main advantage was that he boxed against slow opponents. Size would also be an advantage, but Usyk can't chase Fury around the ring for all 12 rounds, and I think Tyson, with his weight, will run out of steam. Usyk will make him move and knock him out, Rahman told Fight Hype. Tyson Fury, WBC heavyweight champion. He has 35 fights, 34 victories, no any defeats, and 1 draw. The fight against Ngannou clearly spoiled the cards for Tyson, who was hoping to teach the Cameroonian a tough boxing lesson. In fact, the whole world saw how the Gypsy King first defiantly slept off on the locker room before the fight, and then was unable to wake up at all until the final round. Moreover, we have already observed such indifference and self-confidence before, when Tyson openly took care of himself in battles with Chisora and White. As in the fight with Fury, then there was neither their usual pressure of the Wilder era nor protracted finishing combinations at the net. It seems that their Gypsy King was too confident that he was defeating them all on points, so he didn't even try to somehow increase the pace, much less knock out his opponents. And if he doesn't change his approach in the fight with Usyk, he risks not only losing but also suffering a stupid knockout for the first time in his career. What to expect from Fury in the fight against Usyk? Tyson is far from a fool, and we definitely won't see the imposingness and slowness that was in the fight with Chisora or Ngannou. He understands that he will face an unusual heavyweight who is ready to work at high speeds for all 12 rounds, so the only correct tactic is to put pressure on him the way Dubois did. The unpredictability of Fury's blows in his main feature, relying on which he will cut down all of Usyk's charms. If the fight enters a late stage and Tyson realizes that he no longer has enough strength for his attacks, then he can temporarily go into a blind block and give his opponent a couple of rounds. But it's definitely not worth taking such poses at the beginning and deliberately giving away one of the first 6 rounds. Legendary British boxer Lennox Lewis expects Tyson Fury to win. Now I'm leaning towards Tyson Fury. Lately his fights are like masterclasses. He has an excellent trainer in his corner. He uses the jab well, changes stances during their fight, and generally boxes spectacularly. I love watching him fight because Tyson is a showman and true warrior, Lewis told Boxing Social. What a Fury's chances of winning. There are two ways to defeat a top in-form Fury: if he underestimates you or if you shock him with your battle tactics. And their first option seems much more realistic, but behind a wall of ridicule and insults towards Usyk, Tyson hides his nerves and respect for his opponent. If he shows us the old version of himself with fast jab slips and crazy invisible doubles, then he has every chance to take the fight by decision. As for the verdict, the last fight against Ngannou once again demonstrated how loyal the judges are to him, giving away even the most controversial rounds. The Gypsy King has already said many times that he wants to end his career, and it's possible that the fight against Usyk will become its epilogue. And if that's true, just imagine the level of focus, motivation, aggression he will bring into this fight. Will Tyson manage to knock out Usyk, and in what round? Write more actively in the comments. It will be very interesting for me and others to read. Thank you. Former world heavyweight champion Mike Tyson also does not consider the Ukrainian a favorite. I go to with Fury. I think he is the best fighter in the world, especially in the heavyweight division. Great fighters lose, great fighters look bad. That doesn't stop them from being great fighters, Mike Tyson told. Even though Fury's current level of self-confidence scares me, I have no doubt that this time he will show his maximum and will no longer underestimate his opponent, snoring 10 minutes before the start of the fight. If the fight with Ngannou was a purely commercial gamble, then the fight against Usyk is probably the last fight in Tyson's professional career, who has long dreamed of living at the peak. This time he definitely wants not only to win, but to prove to everyone that dozens of interviews and press conferences are not just trash talk, but the most accurate forecast in the history of boxing. With all due to respect to Usyk's legacy and his style, and even despite their disastrous fight with Ngannou, I choose to bet on Tyson. But at the same time, I have no doubt that what awaits us is not just a judge's decision, but a frankly close fight with a swing, where the judges will still have to work, giving scores for the rounds. Tyson will interrupt Usyk and take advantage of his problems with pulling back. Fury will also catch him with his simultaneous double, but I still hesitate to say that he is capable of quickly knocking out Oleksandr. So, the break between Fury's fights against Ngannou and Usyk is minimal, and this should scare fans of the British boxer. The Ukrainian has come a long way, but Tyson's talent, size, and power will play a role. We will most likely see a close fight and judges' decision. Again, stay safe, stay tuned.